Can you see me now?
I can see you now.
I can see clearly now. The camera's on.
Oh, look at you.
All right, ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Are you ready?
Still ready.
Hey, everybody. It is a much different type of vlog for the day. We finally have the man with the plan. He's got all the answers. IOM
All the
Geek.
answers.
Paul is here. And
Hello.
it's different. I think, we talked about this in the live chat that we did a couple of, I guess like a week and change ago, where I said Paul was going to probably log in, but he never did because he was just too busy. He's too busy all the time, which is funny.
I have nothing but things to do.
It's funny because I was thinking the same thing before too. Like, I've meant to record a video like every day, and it's not like there's like a ton of things getting in the way, but now it's like, what are you gonna do? There's always something.
I put an unboxing of my new G.I. Joe toy online today. That's something.
It did. I didn't watch it yet, but I wanted to buy that figure, and I was so into G.I. Joes when I was younger. Hold on a second. I'll show you one thing.
Oh, Kyle has left the podcast. Kyle has returned to the podcast.
Yeah, here's
That's
my
awesome.
Snake Eyes. So I wanted to get them, but I saw there's already like 6 of the 6-inch figures out. So
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was like, oh boy, like,
well, I'm already behind. I only bought that one.
I can't go down that rabbit hole. So
hey, so I'm drinking a beer. I feel like we could do Nights at the Beer Table this way.
We could. I'm not. I'm drinking Coke.
Lame.
It's in my Halloween Horror Nights 26.
I'm supporting local business, Hardywood Richmond Lager.
Oh,
it's good.
Is it good?
Yeah.
I'm afraid that the volume keeps going up on my voice because
that's okay.
The Mac keeps saying input volume, but what are you gonna do?
It's fine. Yeah, it's recording the volume. It's okay. It'll spike sometimes. It's no big deal.
So we had this idea, Paul and I, because we are joined at the hip, although we're at different states, and in different states psychologically now with under the influence.
No,
but the not only did the Halloween Horror Nights speculation map come out, and I think like the world did videos on the speculation map, and we can talk about that a little bit, but if you follow Paul and myself, we both go to haunts that are not necessarily Halloween Horror Nights. We do go to Horror Nights, love Horror Nights.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we talk about Horror Nights all the time on our podcast, shameless plug, the Four Hauntsmen. Mm-hmm. But right now it's the Dos
Hermanos.
Yeah.
We are we're trying something a little different right now. There's no real news out there. Once the actual news officially releases from Halloween Horror Nights, I'm sure we'll get on the mics with with Tom, with Drew. We'll have a Four Hauntsmen for you here in a little bit. But right now it's kind of a little bit of a news lull, but there's a lot of rumors, there's a lot of speculation, and we have some thoughts. So thought it would be a good time to talk.
Speculation, but I think we wanted to also talk about obviously the cornholio dealio that's out there. And we don't say it by name because we don't want to get demonetized, but it is a huge impact, I think, right now. Huge in the sense that here we are, it is April 7th while we're recording this. The stay-at-home orders, for the most part, or the quarantine wishes of the government is pretty much extended to like the end of April at this point, although there's...
So for me, I'm in Virginia. Our stay-at-home order is until June 10th.
Yeah. June 10th is a long time.
Yeah, yes, it is.
For Florida, I forget what day it actually runs out, but it's very wonky here to begin with. We had counties individually that were had orders, and we didn't have one as a state, but just to show we had it as a state level, and then they didn't enforce the fact that you couldn't go to the beach, so they still opened the beaches, and then they closed the beaches, and then the local government sued to open the beaches, and then the government sued to close them, and Ron DeSantis, our governor, opened them, and then they closed again, and now like in Volusia, like Daytona Beach and New Smyrna and stuff, you can't park at the beach. You have to park further away, so they incentivize like locals to be able to just walk on the beach, but you can't sit on the beach.
Yeah, we have the same. I mean, you could exercise on the beach, but you can't just like hang out.
Yeah. So, what we're getting at is, everybody is overly optimistic or hopeful. Obviously that we're gonna hit the crest here and then start, on the downslide. But I think, if every state's going to be different depending on the size of their population and when things spread. Even if the stay-at-home orders ended in May, you still have the downslide of things, right? So as long as it's taken to get to that peak, it's going to take that equal time to get back down. And that's just, that's after we've squashed or stopped the curve or whatever, people have phrased it as. And my point is, I think that this extends well beyond into, July, potentially August time period or longer. I mean, it's just based off of simple math, right? But,
yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think even though I think we'll see limited access to things starting in May, assuming that it doesn't continuously get worse. We're recording this on April 7th, by the way, for those watching it. Oh, whatever. I'm reminding them. But I do think that we'll start seeing limited access start in May, as long as things stabilize or lower. Now, on the bright side of things, I guess it depends on your definition of essential and bright side. Universal did announce today that all of their construction projects are still proceeding, even while the parks are not necessarily open. So I do think that construction, if it hasn't already started, will certainly start on, and we're talking about Halloween Horror Nights. We'll certainly, we'll start, if it hasn't already, on Halloween Horror Nights. I think things will be in motion. I think the main folks will be able to do their work remotely, and even some in the park. But I think as far as construction, I think it's still going. Now, as far as the ability to open and take in 40,000 people a night, I think it's going to depend on how things look in 3 months.
I think construction is one thing, but it's also when would the parks reopen? And then how, if you're flattening the curve, that's the term that I couldn't think of, right?
Yeah.
It just means that you're prolonging the duration of the virus for folks that don't grasp this, right? So you're flattening the curve now by staying home. It just means that the duration of this extends further. So, do you want to go to, like today, I think it was announced that Spooky Empire postponed their event from May, I think, to July or August, and it's kind of weird because they have fall spooky happens around Halloween also, so they would be kind of really close.
They're going to bump up against Midsummer Scream. Is that still happening? Midsummer Scream?
The jury is out, I think, because it's too far in advance and people don't want to pull the plug yet. But if you're going to the parks or not only going to the parks, but you go to any haunt, really, right? The main thing for getting scared is being distracted. The concern is, even last year at Universal when we did the backstage tour, they gave you the buttons that was like, shit in your face type thing, like or stuff in your face. So much of that stuff gets me sick. The first 2 weeks of Horror Nights, every year to begin with, just cold stuff that's sticking to like the webs or the walls or anything like that, and then putting your hands on the walls. And a couple of years back, I think it would have been like either when we had like swine flu or bird flu, one of these things, and I want to say it was maybe 24 at that point. They had hand sanitizers at the end of every house, so you went through and you'd get like a little Purell station to put, in your hand. I
Mm-hmm.
would say for sure that at least that will exist this year.
Oh
Then the
yeah.
question would be, how do you operate a house without the distractions? Or as a consumer, do you want to go to a house and potentially get sick? I mean, and literally, it's kind of joked about in like at least like the HHN or heart community, like like the kind of like the HHN crud that you get the first weeks.
Yeah, I mean, and we know it as people who go to conventions. There's the con cred. Anyone who goes to
Yeah.
conventions is aware of the con cred. You're pretty much, unless you take your, and I've started taking my emergency, my vitamin C before I go to any of these events, my airborne, whatever. I think it's smart regardless of if there's Rona out there or not. But, I think we're going to see more of that. I do think the Purell stations, and I think just like whether it was the swine flu year or 9/11, right? HHN altered their event as a result of it, and at least this time they have a significant amount of time to update their event. So I do think we'll see less of the hangy stuff, stuff in face,
Yeah.
sif. Yeah, we'll see less of the sif this year because of that stuff is just, I mean, that touches your hands, that touches your face, and then it touches the face of the person behind you. I would be surprised if we see as much of that this year.
Yeah, I would agree. I guess the $1,000,000 question, because this is what people keep asking me all the time,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's direct message or on Twitter or wherever, and like, is HHN happening this year? Your guess as of April 7th.
My guess is yeah. My guess is that HHN will happen. Will it happen on the original opening date? That I don't know. I'd say HHN will happen, but as to whether it happens in the format that is currently expected, I think they're planning for it to. I do think they'll reduce some of the things we said. I think they'll make precautions. They'll reduce the SIF. They'll add Purell. They'll figure out some way to do a couple of things, but I think it may possibly get delayed if we don't see some severe downtrend in things. Because regardless of if the SIF, regardless of the Purell, you're still standing in line with thousands of people in pretty close quarters. It's not like they can't expand those queues, but so much. And I do think that unless there's significant downtrend in things, I don't know how the event proceeds as originally planned and as a 30th anniversary year. I think it would be smarter to delay or delay later in the year or even delay till next year than risk. This is one of the most crowded times of the park throughout the year. I just can't imagine, even if there is 50% of the cases out there, that they still proceed as planned.
Yeah, I agree. I could see my take would either be it just doesn't happen, or it does start later, because I think you're still going to have stragglers. I mean, I think it's a tough sell. What do you do? Like today they were talking about Bob Iger for Disney and saying like maybe they'll implement temperature scannings, for people coming into Disney parks on a go forward basis. Can you do that on a scale, for HHN also? But like you said, Halloween Horror Nights, and I'll say it, probably the same thing as like any of these like theme park haunts more than the independent haunts. You are jammed together in like the herd of people in line and told all the time like to move up, move up.
Even in the house, right? You're
Yeah.
doing the Congo line through the house. You're practically touching the person in front of you. You're not. There's no 6 foot distance
Yeah.
anywhere throughout your time in the park.
This is where the independent haunts, I think, win a little bit because you're generally pulsed. When you go to Netherworld, you're not going in conga line with people. When you go to any of these mom and pop places, they're not there. I mean, it's also a risk, I think, for the actors that are in these houses that they're going to be so close to people, and maybe you get more animatronics or some more distant scares or something. But at HHN, I mean, I don't know, for the sheer volume of people that it attracts, you can't have people spaced out that far apart. It's going to be really, interesting, I think. And even in the street locations, like what would you do? Because generally the streets, they get even closer to you than the houses, albeit you're outdoors.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, I just can't see the event happening in the format that we're used to unless something drastic changes with the coronavirus. Oh, I said the word. With the thing that's out there.
It's too late.
It's too late. We're still 5 months away. Anything can happen. We, as of the time we're recording this, we're supposed to experience peak over the next few weeks nationwide. Different states at different times, but they're expecting the worst of it over the next few weeks. But, so if it's the equivalent of getting any other sickness at the park, like you said, the HHN crud, then maybe it's fine. I still think we'll see some alterations because they're working on it now. But yeah, I mean, I have a concern. I do have a concern about it happening this year. But I will say, in the end, if we are still dealing with the virus to the point that we're canceling events back in September, I think our worries are much greater than HHN.
Yeah, that is an excellent point. So, with that, I'm going to take out my handy-dandy phone.
Taking a phone call in the middle of the video cast?
No. By the way, this was dinner, man. Check that out.
I thought you were going to show me the screen on your phone was a picture of me. That looks good.
Steak. It's what's for dinner. So, our friends, I believe, over at HHN Nightmares, I want to give the right credit. It's HHN Nightmares, I believe.
Yeah.
Put a speculation map together.
Do you have it up on your phone? Should I load it up?
I have it up on my phone, too. So, and also, by the way, before I forget, and I'm not getting paid by these guys, by the way, but this hat, Transworld was supposed to take place in March, just a couple weeks ago. We went to Transworld last year. It was amazing. Trade show, the biggest trade show for Halloween and haunt stuff, where you buy these gigantic animatronics where they're on display and you're like, that's the stuff I saw at Netherworld or wherever. And it's like, oh, it's just like $30,000 for that one animatronic. But they have masks and all this other cool stuff. But this company, Haunt Shirts, and I'm not getting paid by them.
Yeah, so let's caveat. Yeah. Literally no one pays us to do anything that we do.
They're not paying us. I don't get a referral link or anything else for them. But this hat is from Haunt Shirts. And I posted this in Instagram post at one point, and everybody was like, oh my God. Like, where did that come from? But I also got this. You can see.
Oh, look at that. That's a cool shirt.
Yeah. And on the back, it's the 1031. So,
nice. I mean, I've got my Camp Crystal Lake hat. I don't know where I got it from. I ordered it online.
I thought maybe FYE.
No, I got it online from some company. It's official, though. It says Friday the 13th on the back. So
that makes it official. It's got the logo.
It's got the logo. It can't be fake. I bought it on a New York street corner, but whatever.
Well, if you guys want to Google Haunt Shirts, if you're interested in a hat or this, they're still, I believe, both available. They also have this ridiculous, like, adult sleeper, like, onesie that was orange with the jack-o'-lantern print on it, but that's sold out. So,
do you think you can get into the gate at Universal Studios with that hat on? With the profanity?
I'm probably thinking not, unless you wear it backwards. I mean, I don't know.
Just stick it in your pocket.
But then where would I hide my knife?
Where would I put my hand sanitizer?
Yeah. That's going to be the thing this year, man. Like, forget Tervises or anything else. Like, everything at the HHN store would be like the HHN hand sanitizer, branded for each of the properties that ends up there, The Beetlejuice disinfectant spray.
Oh, Beetlejuice. Kyle, you're referring to some of the speculation that's out there about a Beetlejuice house this year.
Yeah, so the speculation for Horror Nights anyway, I think and this is crazy to say it, but HHN 30, I think to me, HHN 25 was my favorite year of going because you had this giant celebration, 25th anniversary, and it was centered around Jack and the other icons. And I could see some of the icons maybe being involved with some of the stuff that's on the speculation map. And again, all credit to HHN Nightmares. You guys should check them out. I'll put a link to their Twitter below.
Is that a website or a Twitter? Sorry, I should probably at HHN Nightmares. Follow them. They're very informative.
They have a website also. It's Horror Nightmares, horrornightnightmares.com.
Oh, okay. So everyone talks about the speculation map they put out. It's usually
somewhat true.
It's usually at least 75% ish true.
It's true.
It's true. All of it.
No, I don't know about the stuff that's there, but the big thing, like we go back to Beetlejuice, I truly believe Beetlejuice will be there this year.
Okay.
I think the hardcore Universal Orlando fans kind of clamor for a return of Beetlejuice somehow. They took away our show. I don't know how you felt about the show. That was one of my favorite things to do at the park, and I would go to that show every time.
It was cute.
Yeah, we went to see Beetlejuice the play on Broadway last year. That was awesome also, and I love the character. They, obviously had the rumor that Beetlejuice 2 would be made forever, and it just never happened. But as a house, as a title house, or maybe perhaps like the title house, that's kind of a stretch. It's kind of like Ghostbusters last year. Like, I don't really think there's anything scary about Beetlejuice.
I'd be curious to see, in the few times that I went to the park last year, right? Ghostbusters. So, I mean, clearly you can look at Kyle and I and see that we're old white guys, right? I would be curious to know metrics. If the Ghostbusters house was as, big of a hit as more modern properties like Stranger Things and Us. In my experience, it didn't seem to be. It seemed like the Us house was very popular when I went. It seemed like the Stranger Things house was very popular when I went, more popular than the Ghostbusters. So I'd be curious. I think Beetlejuice has its followers. I do. I don't think it's the teenage audience.
Yeah, I think it's tough. I mean, I know Jess loves Beetlejuice, but
but you're her dad, right? That's the thing.
That's the thing. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, parents raise their kids on what they like, and sometimes it connects, sometimes it doesn't. No, a Beetlejuice house I think would be great. I'd love to see it. I don't think it would be particularly scary, but it doesn't need to be, as long as it carries the feel of the movie. I'd be happy with it.
Yeah. I mean, every time, I think in the videos that I shot last year at Horror Nights, like every time that I went through Ghostbusters, I ended up saying, I'll never not love that house, because that house represented, Ghostbusters, and it was such a huge part of my childhood and stuff. But Beetlejuice, kind of, sort of the same way, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel much the same way.
The other house that I think is a draw for, that's rumored to be a draw for, maybe the people in our age range would be Gremlins, is on the list.
Yeah.
And this is one that I'm not sure would be legit. I mean, Gremlins, I think, was part of like the Warner Brothers horror event that they had. Had that on their tour, or not, Warner Brothers, I said, right?
Yeah, Warner Brothers. Yep, it's a Warner Brothers property. Same as Beetlejuice.
Yeah. Beetlejuice they've licensed for a while though. I mean, and Gremlins was part of the other. It's kind of like, if you're gonna go that deep with Gremlins, why not go that deep with it then?
Yeah, I don't think Gremlins. Now here's the thing. I don't know that Gremlins would be good even if it was true. Because I think it would be a house.
Confuse it with Baby Yoda.
There you go. But and even regardless of all the puppetry and animatronics, I don't think we're talking about puppetry and animatronics. I think we're talking about a house full of characters, kind of like what we had with the gingerbread scene in Krampus.
I love
right? Like, that's a great scene, but a full house, like, you're basically being scared by the victims. I don't know that. Now, if they make it happen, I'm gonna check it out. I don't know how you can make that a successful house.
Yeah, or the bear right before the gingerbread in
You can have just life-size
Spring.
gremlins being on. Maybe they'll say,
Oh, that would be hilarious.
right? Maybe you
You
are maybe
shrink
what they
down.
you shrink down to the size of Gizmo. Like they want you to be in Gizmo's head, and you're following the gremlins around.
And everything
Maybe
else
that's
would
the
be
way they go
giant
with it.
size in the house. That would be amazing. That's kind of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids at DHS.
Or like what they did that with Chucky in HHN 20 something, early 20s. They had a house where Chucky possessed all the toys. So they had army men and stuff like that. And you were small, but everything else was big. So that I could see. And that is a way you could sell me on that house, making everything else big. Giant toy cars, like
Oh
that
boy.
remote control car. Yeah. Yeah. All right, now I'm sold. I'm sold on Gremlins. Just like that.
So, and I don't want to have this go on forever, so I don't know if I'll touch on everything. But the one thing that jumped out, and this is what made me not want to do one of these videos initially, was all of this backlash on the Billie Eilish may have a house. First, I think it was rumored that she'd have a zone, then she'd have a house, and now it's like everybody's like Billie Eilish. This is the ridiculous.
Well,
But
you know what's confusing to me? The rumor started when Mike Aiello posted online that he was going to a Billie Eilish concert with his kid, right? And he doesn't have anything to do with the event anymore. So, like, is there any credence in this, or is this still born out of the fact that Mike Aiello went to a Billie Eilish concert? Like, had he gone to a Lady Gaga concert, would we be having this conversation about a
but
Lady
she
Gaga?
literally has monsters. Lady
Who?
Gaga's fans are
Right?
called monsters, the little
See?
monsters.
I don't know enough about Billie Eilish to say whether I would be interested or not. I think if Billie Eilish has interesting imagery that lends itself well to a Horror Nights house, I'm fine with it. I guess for me, I don't have a preference one way or the other on that one.
Yeah, I think the thing that's ridiculous is, and we talked about this earlier, just so you guys should know, like, not that we planned out what we were going to say in the video, but um, you had Rob Zombie as a scare zone last year. You had Alice Cooper a couple years
Mhm.
back, and I think there's a lot of newer people that weren't even there for that. I mean, you have Black Sabbath out on the other coast. Um, you had Slash doing the music for the Monsters House out in the West Coast and
Yep.
stuff too. So, you know, we've been served up a healthy dose of metal and rock and everything too. And like, I'm not the world's biggest Billie Eilish fan. There's been videos that I've done. I think we even had a video called "Duh" at one point, from her song. But um, maybe it's their job, any theme park's job, is to get
Mhm.
asset. It's like when you go to a baseball game or anything, it's asses and seats. It's ticket prices. You're getting people in to the event. And although every year that brings new people in, the next year they come in and they're all of a sudden everybody's an HHN snob, and they know
Yeah.
better. So they got to keep drawing more people in, and you draw more young people in. Why not go with Billie Eilish? I have no idea what they could do with it, but when you
Yeah, no,
want,
maybe if you guys like this, I mean, I will say, if you guys like this, let us know because we'll do this again. And I promise I'll watch some freaking Billie Eilish videos to be prepared for this conversation if it turns out to be true.
yeah, we'll have to
Um,
talk about it more with the Four Huntsmen with Tom too to see how much Billie Eilish he knows.
right? Because I just don't know enough about her. Again, for what it's worth, I think that blending music with horror has, we've seen that since the 70s. With Kiss and Alice Cooper and acts like that. So if Billie Eilish has that sensibility, I'm all for it. Now, as long as they don't play her James Bond song, I'm good. Because I don't love that song.
So yeah, I was going to say something before too, but I forgot what it was. Doesn't matter. I guess it's a wait and see on that thing. I mean, and the
Yeah.
thing is that like when you get these speculation maps, who knows how much of this stuff is ever going to happen? But
Yeah.
you potentially have storyteller, I guess, being involved with bedtime stories.
So I did see that one, and that one I'm super excited about. My favorite, anyone who watches my channel, knows that I know I'm about to plug, like IOM Geek, YouTube.com/IOM Geek. No, knows that I love fairy tale, bedtime story, urban legend type stuff. That's why I love HHN 18, the Bloody Mary year had a bunch of stuff like that. So if they did a bedtime story thing, which from what I read will be kind of a concept that they tried last year and scrapped, and they're bringing it back, incorporating the storyteller. I'm all for that. If anything, that's one of the most excited the houses I'm most excited for.
Yeah, I would agree. I think they could do anything original. My idea, not that I don't work for Universal or any of these guys, and but I would have just made the event all original and move forward with, that's the further adventures of Jack, Eddie, storyteller, director, Usher. You could have had everybody out there.
I think the last time they did that may have been 21. I think there was one IP in HHN 21, and I'm sure people in the comments down below will let me know if I'm wrong. But I think the only time they ever did, I don't know that they've ever done a full original year, assuming Universal Monsters are considered an IP. But I think HHN 21 was the most recent where they had, out of all the houses, they may have had one licensed property.
Yeah, I don't know what I was just going to say.
He's for like clamped.
Email just popped up like at the same time. I am hesitant at looking at the speculation thing and not seeing like the involvement of Jack, because I think that's what everybody is waiting for. And I don't remember what I was going to say. Also, it was tweeted out only like 3 weeks ago or so that Blumhouse was looking to try to do a movie based off of an HHM property.
Right.
So, like I think the first natural thing that kind of pops up, maybe not to everybody, maybe it's just me, but why not Jack? Like he's kind of the crux of the event.
Or Cary, Ohio. What I find interesting, so I'm going to try to say this without profanity. I feel like Jason Blum was BSing all of us when he said, "Oh yeah, we've had talks about it. We haven't really figured out the right story." I'm kind of calling shenanigans on that because literally HHN has about 5 distinct original properties that they've used, whether it's the Body Collectors, whether it's Cary, Ohio, whether it's Psycho Scarapy, Jack, The Undertaker. They have a number of original properties, all with inherent storylines. So I just don't think they've really broached the subject closely enough to make a story out of it, because I think Cary, Ohio lends itself well to some type of Hulu or Netflix show. I think Blumhouse I think they currently have a show on Hulu. So I think there's opportunity there. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, we have Legendary Truth in Cary, Ohio as one of the houses that's...
Look at that. Transitions.
Well, it's funny because Legendary Truth, I kind of feel like it used to be the thing for people going to the event years back, and then it started to really fizzle out the last few years. Like
I think it fizzled out once it became an upcharge, contest thing, and it just, the juice didn't prove worth the squeeze, right, when it came to that thing.
Yeah, and it all ties together. We've got to make a trip over to Cary. That's going to be our next video.
Yes, it won't be our next video. It'll be our video when the Rona dies down. Hey, while we're talking about original properties, did I read that Terra Quintus was a house, or is that part of the bedtime stories?
That's one of the speculated houses.
Speculatory. Yeah. So I'm calling. I think that one might be a bit of shenanigans also, since the storyteller in bedtime stories is the same character as the queen, the Terra Queen. So I don't know that they're going to do 2 houses on the same character. I could be wrong, but I would be surprised if they did 2 houses on the icon from HHN 14 that hasn't popped up since, really.
Well, this is the year for Bloody Mary to show up.
I would love to know why Bloody Mary hasn't shown up again. I know there's rumors that it was too scary, or if anything, I think it
I
was
thought it was
a licensing thing.
yeah, licensing IP issue.
Yeah.
So
Are we going to see Candyman this year, Kyle? Speaking of Bloody Mary.
Hey, you know what? Everybody was all Candyman, and
Oh, don't say it again.
I don't know.
We've said it twice.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe Candyman.
I don't know. I would be curious to how it depends on how the new movie comes out, basically.
When it's going to come out.
When it's going to come out, because I think it's scheduled for September now. I think it was originally intended to come out in June or July, and they've pushed it out to September. So it'll be out around the time of Halloween Horror Nights. In fact, it's probably better because if it actually came out in June or July, it wouldn't be in the theaters when Halloween Horror Nights came out, nor would it be on digital. So
I think we're in for interesting times with Cornholio, Dealio, and the impact to movie theaters too. So even though things are getting pushed back, there's potentially less theaters to be able to distribute to. At least the rumors that were out there, like AMC is basically like on its last thread. So
yeah,
for us locally, that's a major hit.
Yeah, same here.
So, do you push out a movie if you can't get it on the same amount of screens that you normally would?
I think for some of these movies, I think we're seeing pushback on some of these movie releases with the intention that things will quiet down by the end of May, right? Like, I think we're still seeing June releases not being pushed back. I think we're only seeing April and May. If it continues into the summer and beyond, I think we're going to start seeing some of this stuff released digitally.
Do you think this could be a house?
I would go to it in a heartbeat. First of all, why is that on your desk? Were you reading it?
I cleaned up in here the other day, and I was like, oh, this book is in here. And then I really got infatuated of sitting here and reading. This is why we didn't do a video the other day, because I sat and read this again.
Because Kyle read Archie versus Predator. You haven't read Archie versus Predator 2, though.
I mean, come on, dude.
I mean, look at that. Is that Jughead?
Yeah, Jughead's head.
Oh,
have you not read this? I mean, this is brutal.
I read it years ago. I haven't even read the sequel.
It's really good, and like, oh my god, like.
Hopefully, you guys are seeing this.
I mean, it's anyway.
So, Archie versus Predator House for HHN 31.
It would be awesome.
All right, so did we miss any of the big properties for HHN 30 before we wrap this conversation up?
I mean, the other ones that are rumored, it's The Bride for Universal Monsters, and I can't say that I would be ecstatic about that. I love The Bride, but, I don't know what we do with that.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. I feel like they've done it enough times. I think they wait until we actually get a Bride of Frankenstein movie from this new Universal universe they're doing.
Yeah. The Dungeon of Terror.
Just random Dungeon of Terror? Like, is that a thing?
Yeah. Like...
Oh, Kyle's showing it. Oh, move it to the left. Hold on. Yeah, there you go. All right, so Dungeon of Terror, who knows what that is? Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. There is some good imagery.
Mary and Jess love that show.
I like the first season. I haven't seen anything since. Are they on 3 seasons now? I think they're on 3 seasons.
And you're asking the wrong dude if you're asking about TV.
Put Mary on this podcast.
Yeah, so The Haunting of Hill House. I know Mary loves that show also.
I don't see that either.
So,
I mean, it's an interesting show. I don't know. I think some of those lend themselves to having great individual characters, but scenery-wise, I don't know how visually appealing either of those properties are. But then again, I said the same thing about Us, and I was right. So
what?
It's like, here's just like a regular house.
I like
creepy characters in it.
You know the thing, like I really liked Us that first week, and nobody believed me because I didn't like the movie. Everybody thought I was lying.
I like the first half of the movie.
Yeah, so I liked it, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Hopefully the event goes off. Maybe
Hmm.
maybe they'll wait till it gets colder outside. I don't know. Although we were told that the heat would kill this off, and it was an NBD for a while, right?
Yeah.
No big deal. Oh, by the way, this is what I'm thinking for HHM merchandise. This is the Disney hand sanitizer, but it's in these cases. Like
I'd buy it.
Coloring.
$5.99.
If you sold that $10 with like,
oh, Kyle's going 10.
Jack's $8. Okay, let's say $8, $8 or $10. Jack's picture on here, or director or whatever. Like, forget it, man. You couldn't keep.
I mean, license to print money.
Yeah.
Be the that would not end up at the garage sale at the end of the event.
No, not at this point. Not if it took place not during current times.
So I think we're rambling a bit, but I do think that I think we both really really want the event to happen. We're doing this because we like talking about it. We're excited about the ideas. I'd say at least 50% of that speculation map excites me. The other 50% I hope is wrong. But what do you guys think? I think when it comes to this type of stuff, we love hearing from you. So I would say leave us a comment down below. Let us know what you think, of the speculation map. HorrorNightmares.com.
Yes. So we'll put a link to Horror Night Nightmares below, also Paul's channel below, also Punch Shirts thing, and we'll put a link.
We're just going to put all the links down. It's just going to be all the links that you ever need. Just say this is your homepage from now on.
Yeah, and if you watch this, you have to go and watch Paul's video unboxing the 6-inch version of Snake Eyes.
Oh, it's so sweet. It's right here. I can't reach it though. It would take the force to get it over here. Wrong property. Yeah, so let us know what you guys think. Hopefully we'll all see each other at Horror Nights, and if you guys like this, we'll do it again, especially as more news comes out.
Yeah, if you like it, say that you like it, and then tweet Paul that you like it, because I asked him a week and a half ago to do this, but it's busy.
I'm a hard man to get a hold of. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely reach out to us. I'm at IOM Paul on Twitter. Yeah, definitely let us know. Don't just say hey, you guys are stupid, or I hate your hat.
That happens all the time.
I mean, do that too, but also let us know that you like watching this type of content, because it's our first time doing it. I literally had all this stuff installed in my system. I didn't know I could do it, and now I know.
There you go. All right. Thank you, Sir Paul.
All right. Thank you, Kyle.
And once again, as everybody, thank you for the likes, comments, and subscriptions. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Have a great night. I'll
Peace.
see you guys. Paul will see you guys. We'll all see you guys.
Or should I say peeps? Bye, peeps.
This was good. Now, hopefully, the video actually came out.